Welcome to the Hopium Podcast, hosted by Jp3g and Burmpf. As always, this is not financial advice.
All right, so we're bumping and grinding. All right, dude, primates make me sad. I have this curse that anytime I touch a project, in the short term at least, it goes to shit, and my timing for getting out of said projects is always awful. And it's mostly times when how could I possibly know? But it's like primates is a perfect example. I got into it when it dipped just a little bit, and I was like, okay, it's been pretty steady for a while. Buy in. And then immediately after I buy, it's like, okay, we're gonna fucking send the floor to nothing. You're gonna lose like 50% of your fucking worth out of it. And then it's like shit. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be liquid than hold on to this NFT that I just bought because it was trending. Because it already wasn't necessarily like a great buy. So I dumped it. And I think I sold it. I think I listed it for 15 and there was an offer for like 14 or something. I ended up with like 12 point something out of it.
Would you buy it?
I think it was like 20.
Oof.
Yeah, so that felt bad. And then today I looked and it was at like 18 and I was like, oh, that's my fucking luck. But it still would have been down. So it's like whatever, right? But
so your curse
19.9 breaks my fucking soul, dude.
Well, and I talked about that a little bit. I mean, unless you're looking for the instant liquidity, man, sometimes it's better just to be patient, especially with, and this is just my opinion on projects like primates. And I've been pretty openly bullish on primates, right? So that's one that I've sent a couple to my ledger and I'm just holding on to for now. But yeah, we all do it, man. There's like what's the term for it? The stop loss, I guess, if you will, of NFTs. So nothing wrong with trying to collect a little bit back if you're not sure where it's headed. But I think primates was another prime example of one of those projects that had a ton of initial hype and it kind of came out of nowhere. So OK Bears, nobody will ever do what OK Bears did as far as floor price action, right?
I mean, they might one day.
Sure, I guess. But so primates kind of did a similar thing where maybe not on the largest scale, but it took off to what I get to 30, 40 almost, right? And you always have those initial phases of like hype where it takes off and then, the team has to develop and build and, kind of take care of things that they're working on. And then the project becomes, people panic in this space. And so I think that's why you saw the dip it kind of settled around 1920, right? I think. And then it dipped down to 13. So I think in that case, that's one of those ones where depending on how heavily invested you are in it, just set it and forget it and, wait. So unfortunate for you, RIP for you, sir.
Yeah, dude, my timing's just awful.
Next time
I'm telling you, it's a curse I have. It's not like it's inevitable. I buy monkeys die. Fucking I bought them and they dipped immediately. The thing is, it's always in the short term, right? So it's they always fucking like monkeys, right? They've bounced up and down the whole time, right? But it's just like a timing thing. I don't know. Maybe it's not necessarily a curse. Maybe it's just I have shit timing on things. And I don't know what I could even do to prevent something like that. Because fuck, dude, you saw the reaction I got on Twitter from the community.
Dude, the community's it's still
they ripped it up. Sure, that's why I bought it, because I was like, okay, the community's clearly alive.
Mm-hmm. So why'd you sell?
Because I didn't see anything from anybody. It'd been fucking weeks since I'd seen anything about anything to do with primates.
So this is a prime example.
I was like, their floor's dead. Fucking, there's nothing happening. I'm out.
Primates are dead. Okay, so this is another point I guess we can kind of bring up, for people that and this is just my opinion, of course, that anytime that I'm in a project and, maybe Twitter might be the Twitter hype, especially when primates, that's all we saw, is I'll go and check out Discord. I'll kind of see announcements. I'll see who's in there chatting. Because that's another place to see kind of what's going on with the project, where they're at, if it's still active. I mean, if the Discord and Twitter is both dead, then yes, I think that's something to be concerned about. But Primate's Discord is, from when I'm in there, has always been fairly active. Their announcements are, they may not be giving a ton of information, but they're hinting on collaboration, some of their merch, things that, for better or for worse, that I don't think the project was dying, like, in my opinion. So for anybody, and that's kind of my recommendation, if you're new in a project and you start to get a little panicky, instead of staring at the floor price, maybe check out the Discord and see what other holders are saying. That's just kind of my 2 cents on that, because you're never going to time it. And I mean, look at this now. I mean, you have 5 more SOL in your pocket.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, that's kind of good. It's like, I know that, I just didn't care enough about it to like,
did you only have one
to do it? Yeah, I just have one. It
Okay.
wasn't like a crazy investment.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is what it is. In all fairness, I'm excited to see kind of where primates go. I'm still a primate holder. But obviously my entry was a little different. So a dip to 13 wasn't a huge deal for me when I'm still up at that point, right? So
You're big too, right?
It's a little, I mean, I bought most of my bag around 2 to 6 ish when it took that initial dip.
It must be nice, dude. After you fucking sold that bear, bro, that bear was like a catalyst for like you to make like a bunch of huge fucking plays.
It is. And I mean, it's nice, and it's also not at the same time. Like, but having that liquidity, yes. I mean, I could take a little bit more risk with certain projects. In primates, like I've already mentioned this before, that I just liked the art. It was purely like, this was unique. I thought this was cool. Anything else that was going to come from it, I was cool with. And like, I heard the AMA, I kind of heard like the Amazon, the shop, whatever that they were trying to do. And to me, I was like, okay, that's kind of a cool idea. They're trying to bring in like Web 2 funding for their project. They're not relying specifically on the royalties to fund their project or the initial mint. So I was like, that's kind of a, for better or for worse, at least they're trying something. And all the merch and all the art and all the teasers that I've seen, I actually really like. So for me, I was like, cool. I didn't go in heavy. I mean, I think maybe the most I had at one point was like 14 to 16 ish. Obviously I sold some on the ride up, but I mean, I still have some on my ledger that I'll continue to hold for a while now. So well, anyways, enough about me. Let's move on.
What's your opinion on the y'all thing?
So somebody, a Teo, however you say it, holder, actually brought up this interesting point.
Hold on, before we start, let's like make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Okay.
It's y'all just made a marketplace where you can choose the royalties. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it's caused a lot of conversation, I guess, some heated debate on the Twitter about how people feel about it. So, okay, continue. I apologize.
No, you're good. So, I mean, and there is, obviously a lot of opinions around it. You can see that Frank's been on Twitter talking about it, his feelings. My thing was, a while back, actually, somebody got scammed again. And I tweeted out this thing because y'all had links. And I was like, yeah, you need to get rid of your links. And they actually commented back on that tweet and said, hey, we're working on this. We're going to get it removed. I was like, that's really cool. Like, I'm glad you guys are doing that. You're making the, Solana ecosystem a little safer. Nobody should be clicking on links, period. Like, there's no need for that. Like, scams are always involved when you click on shit you don't know where it's taking you. So they removed that. I was like, that's cool. So anyways, that Teo holder, he mentioned on Twitter, and I guess I'm curious to get your opinion on this. Y'all had reached out and said, hey, if you buy one of our quantum traders right now at current floor price, and you like basically a risk-free buy, because they're like, if you don't like the announcement and what's coming from it, we'll buy it back from you, basically. They messaged that to me, and I think a couple other I don't know who else, to be honest. I just saw the guy tweeting about it, and he freaked out saying that's insider trading, that's this, that, yada yada. Was super upset about it and said he's never going to use y'all for that.
Was it insider trading?
And that was kind of my thoughts. And I replied back to the y'all team, and I just said, hey, like, I'll buy it on my own, with my own money. Like, I don't need like some buyback guarantee. Like, I appreciate the offer. but no, like, don't worry about it. Like, if I'm going to buy it, I'll buy it myself. I'll take that risk.
Or
But
were they offering to buy it for you?
No, they basically they said,
So it's just if you buy it, they will, and you don't like it, they'll
Well-
pay you back what you paid for it.
sure. Yep. And that's all it was. And so,
It's not a big deal.
yeah. And that guy was kind of freaking out. And somebody actually commented on the tweet and was like, yo, there's influencers that get way worse, like information / like, and I was like, yeah, that's a valid point. Y'all wasn't trying to be like, they weren't telling me everything that was coming. Like, I didn't know about this 0% fees. Like, so it's not like I had like all that information. So like, I think a lot of people are bashing on y'all right now. But I think with innovation, there's always critique, right? Whether it's bad or good. And I mean, we talked to Frank about this with the paper and bitch text, right? They're trying things, and whether you like it or not, it's helping us, the ecosystem grow in one way or the other. Now, this one might be a little bit more controversial because of like who the royalties are going to. For me, I don't mind paying like a royalty to a degree. I think when you're starting to get up into the 10%, I think that's too much.
It's too much.
So I think if we could all agree on something, which we never will, but like I have no problem paying like a 3 to 5%. If it helps the team, it helps the fun, like whatever. Like I think that's understandable. I think 1% should go to the marketplace. I think the fact that Magic Eden takes 2% is too much in my opinion. But so if you gave like 1% to the marketplace, 2 to 3% to the project, I think everybody, I hate to speak like on a generalized terms here, but I feel like everybody could get on board with something similar to that, right?
I mean, my thing on it is, and I've said this like to a couple different people, and I might have tweeted about it, I don't know, but if you think about long term, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Royalties are great for the short term. Royalties are nice, like post-mint, right? It's when they make bank on royalties or something. And royalties are good for like projects that end up getting big, like DeGods, like SMBs. But like, what like fucking Only Dice, right? They're not making bank off royalties. I can tell you firsthand they're not making bank off royalties.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if we're gonna treat NFT communities, it's okay. I'll preface it with this: each NFT is gonna be one or the other, right? It's gonna be art / community, or it's gonna be a business. What else is there? There's no in between there, right? There's no art / community / business. Like that's not like, I mean, you can say that, but in end of the day, that's not the case, right?
No.
So if it's just straight up a community and it's just straight up for the art, just to like hang out and be around people that like the same things you do, you don't need royalties. What do you need royalties for? And then on the flip side, if you mention NFT as got some utility to it, it's supposed to be like business styled. I guess I'll say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be styled like a business. Then it needs to be able to be self-sufficient. Would you ever invest in a business that doesn't pay for itself?
No.
No one would. That doesn't make sense. So if anyone's relying on royalties, they're already fucked up.
Yeah, but I think with this space, it's a little harder to have. I mean, because it's not like you're setting up a shop to come in and buy T-shirts, right? Like these NFTs would be that essentially. Like, I mean, so I guess my question would be is like, how would like a PFP project, like, I mean, what are ways they could generate revenue outside of royalties?
Merch.
And okay, that'll last what? Maybe a couple purchases. Like,
As
how
long
many
as
of
they're
your
relevant.
maybe?
Here's the thing: how many projects have we seen make millions of dollars just off mint?
No, and I agree with that, and I think there needs to be an address. So, and this is something that I actually, if the Primates team's listening, they didn't ever respond to this. So I'm not fudding by any means. But I think that this is one way that teams don't look at that I think maybe could is creating a validator, running a validator, staking. I mean, you maybe don't even have to create your own validator. You can stake.
Validators are expensive.
They're actually not that as much as you thought. So I actually talked to Knox about this a little bit because he got his up and running, that Juicy stake.
Yeah.
Free. And because we both thought it was like 5K sold to set up a validator. And my understanding is that that's not even it at all.
Well, it's like, I don't think it costs anything to set it up. I think it just has like a break-even price, right?
There is a break-even price, but when you're talking about how much sold these projects are racking in, right? That's maybe a fraction some of the times. Now, and then you can encourage your holders to stake with that validator. You can encourage them that, it helps Solana, and you earn that. Like that's one. It may not be big, but like that's a consistent over time. I mean, if you used to have so much soul staked, because then you can have project, team holders staking their soul. I don't know. I'm just saying that like there's ways that you can do it, set that up that could bring in, even if it was you did it with the Monkey DAO validator or whatever, the DAO pool, like ways that help Solana's ecosystem and help generate revenue in a way that's like Web3 related. So instead of just merch, because I get it, you're like, for me, like I bought a monkey hoodie, right? I might buy some monkey shirts. Now, does that mean that I'm going to go out there and buy, I mean, how far would that really go? I mean, I don't know. I can see the case for a smaller percentage of royalties as something that can help consistently pay developers, help keep things afloat. But no, I think where we're at in the market, where you're seeing projects consistently 8 to 10%. That is just it's outrageous, and it sucks liquidity out. And because we don't know necessarily what's happening with those funds, but I think we can all agree that that's just too high. And I think that the yaw doing what they're doing with their marketplace helped, if nothing else, bring that conversation into light, right? So maybe 0% might not be the route to go, but it brought in the conversation that I think we're a little too high in this. Solana ecosystem needed to have this conversation to a degree. So
For sure.
Whatever side of the fence you're on, I think there's points, cases that you could make for each. For me, I think I'm okay with paying royalties as long as they're a little, if they come down quite a bit. But at the same time, I just don't think that 0% is a long-term solution.
Why not?
I just think that there's, in this space as it stands, I think that the need for royalties is there to help a project survive, especially during the bear market. I mean, if everybody's doing merch, that's all it is. Like,
I mean, there's more than one way. You don't have to do merch. My thing is, it's like you make so much upfront, like we talked, like millions. Like you could pay someone a decent salary, let's say $70K a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many 70Ks a year does $1 million go? Like, let's say you have a team of 4 people, which most projects don't need more than 4 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially PFP projects, they need like 3 people. They need like an artist, the community manager, and a dev, right? Like they don't need anything crazy. I mean, if they're like big projects like DGODs, like sure, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you got 1 million. Let's say you make $1 million off the mint, which more than a few projects have made substantially more than that. I mean, that last few years, the market's been going for barely over a fucking year. Like no one's running out of fucking money unless they just waste it or like fucking pocket a bunch of it. And that's on them.
Yep.
It's not our responsibility to keep taking care of them. I think I don't care if projects are going to assign royalties, but I think they need to understand that the market's going to do what the market does, right? And if people aren't interested in fucking paying a tax on selling their fucking thing that they already paid for, like if I go to Walmart and I buy a fucking iPhone, would it ever make sense for me to pay Apple again when I go to sell it? Like I understand that it's like an art thing, right? But it's a fucking JPEG on top of the actual fucking thing, right? Like if you want to say it's for like the art, like you can have that conversation, right? But like my PFP, right? My founder, I'm never selling it. I have no intention of selling it. I bought that for the art. Like I actually just got it animated and it looks really fucking cool. But I bought it for the art. I have no intention of selling it. It's for me. It was customized for me. So they could make it a fucking 1,000,000% royalty, and I don't care. I don't plan on flipping it. But like, you look at shit like fucking like DGODs when they had the paper hand bitch tax. Like, you just penalize. At least they called it what it was a penalty.
Yeah.
But like, if someone wants to circumvent that, they should be able to do that.
No, and I think that brings up kind of an interesting conversation, because that's exactly where Frank, I think, and like other projects are having an issue with the over-the-counter trades. So what you're talking about, yes, when you sell that phone again to like somebody on Facebook Marketplace, whatever, I mean, yes, you're not paying any fees like that again. Now, what if you can't find a buyer for that product, right? And you are looking for a product or a buyer for that product. Now you go to eBay, you sell that phone on eBay, right? eBay is now taking a cut of that every time, which I think that is
eBay takes way too much, by the way. They take like 15% or something. It's insane.
I agree. Well, that's a different. I mean, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
These marketplaces and these things they give. So, I mean, that's a little different because eBay doesn't give a cut back to Apple,
right?
Right.
I'm not opposed to like platform fees. Like I think 1 or 2% to like Magic Eden and y'all and shit. Like I don't think that's unreasonable. They're providing you a service. Like that's not unreasonable. But it's like the thing I have an issue with is giving more money to people that already got my money when I bought the thing, just because it was from their collection. Like that's my thing. Why am I giving you more money from my thing after I already paid you for my thing?
I actually can get on board with what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I'm not opposed to platform like percentages, like 1 or 2%. That's not a big deal. I've never been opposed to that. I will say I like the SMB marketplace because it doesn't have that. But that was like a thing where it's like, okay, but they're still getting their royalties, that fucking 5.5% or whatever it was before it turned to 6. Like they were still getting the money anyway. So that made sense. But I think fucking like the people that drive me nuts are the people that have been like ranting on fucking Twitter about how like y'all is like scum and they're like cucks and they're like fucking assholes, blah, 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 like fucking losing their minds over it. The only motherfuckers losing their minds over it are people that have something to lose by it. Like on some real shit. Like how many people do you know that are just normal fucking NFT flippers that aren't fucking like losing their shit?
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, now, just having this conversation kind of changed my my view a little bit.
Yeah, man.
So I guess that kind of puts pressure back on the projects, which necessarily isn't a bad thing. No. Especially when we're giving projects like thousands of soul right off the bat. It's maybe holding them a little bit more accountable to, hey, okay, you guys need to take this money and maybe be a little bit smarter with it instead of just whatever you're doing with it. I don't know what the hell you're doing with it. It's not my, it's not my job.
If you're investing in the project, you should know what the hell they're doing with it. That's the thing. They need to be transparent with it.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I didn't have I wasn't as like big up in arms as like most people were when they heard the news, like the 0% fees, whatever. I can kind of get both arguments, but it's interesting. I think we're all bored also at the moment with the bear market.
Bored as fuck, bro.
Not a ton going on. So everybody's like, there's something slightly controversial and like people like just sort of fucking running with it. Because I hopped, dude, and that's the thing. Like even Twitter Spaces at the moment, I joined a couple to like.
They're awful, dude.
Aside from like Hello Moons, which because I actually learn things and take knowledge away from Hello Moons, Twitter Spaces. Like half of them are just
drama, dude.
And it's just, you can tell there are people that are just bored that have nothing else to do. And I'm just like, okay, like I'm gaining nothing by being here. I would literally rather watch TV than listen to this, which is not how I used to be. Like, so not that I'm saying it's anybody's fault, and hopefully the market kind of shifts, but I just think that we could be better. I mean, at least in the spaces, be a little bit more productive with our time. Because I don't think you've ever jumped in a Hello Moon Twitter space, but I mean, you're familiar with Hello Moon, aren't you?
I mean, a little bit. I see tweets and shit here and there. I know they have something to do with like NFT stats and shit.
Yeah. So I mean, they're just a cool team, like a cool like a project. Like they provide a ton of information. They're free, which is kind of bizarre with what they provide. I mean, a lot of their conversations are just informative, and like that's where I kind of spend my time, where if I'm talking to them, I can hear things that like bring value to me in this space. So, I mean, I don't really care who called somebody what or who did this about that. Like, but if that's your vibe, that's cool, man. That's not where I'm at.
That's just whack, bro. That's some like high school drama bullshit that I have no fucking interest in. I like the ones where it's like ran by like a project or something.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the ones where it's like fucking just like the people that you're like know from spaces are like running the space because they're
True.
like known for space.
Yeah.
And it's just like those are the ones you guaranteed you're gonna go in there and there's people calling each other cucks and they're like fighting and fucking women are getting victimized or whatever the fuck. Like it's always some stupid bullshit with that shit. But like whenever like I hopped in earlier with the there was a space going on with the CEO from Metaplex. And it was about the royalties and stuff. But like it was like a productive conversation. Like they were just like having a conversation, like going back and forth, nice and calm. And I was like, this is the way it should be. Like this is how shit actually gets done. Like this is like the professional side of it that I like to see. But you hop in fucking what's that that one girl's name? Oh, fuck. It's like Amy or something like that.
I think there's an Amy, yeah. Amy, I don't know what her name is, but she has like a podcast.
I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about.
Sure. I mean, I know of the Amy name, yeah.
Yeah, she runs the spaces a bunch, and it's every single one I've ever gone in with her in it is always fucking full of drama and stupid shit. And I'm just like, why the fuck does anyone ever go to these?
I do agree that there's Twitter spaces that are done with projects at the forefront are ones that, yes, like especially if there's one that I'm interested in. Yeah, I agree with that because that's a project that's literally trying to gain your investment, right? So those ones I'm okay with. I agree with that point, which you don't see a ton of, but I actually, quick little plug, I'm doing one on Monday. So if you
know spaces,
yeah, with the project, I'm very excited for it. It's a very cool project, which I'll be kind of talking a little bit more about. But
who's that with?
Huh?
What's the project?
It's called Beneath.
Beneath.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually a utility project, but they have like some art and like a lore to it. They're kind of like covering everything. It's pretty cool. But their utility it's game changer to me. So, anyways, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But
okay, I like it.
Monday, yeah, if you'd like to tune into that.
What time?
Noon Eastern. So
okay, I'll tune in. I got shit going on. I may or may not be awake. We'll see.
Forget you're a night owl.
Dude, I'm a creature, bro. I was up until like 6 a.m. last night. Okay. Last night, in fairness, wasn't necessarily my decision to be up that late. The daughter decided that she just wanted to be like me and got up at like fucking 4 o'clock in the morning.
So what does your like wife do? Like, does she sleep? Does she stay up with you? Like what?
No, she has a normal schedule. Her and the baby have a normal schedule. I cannot get myself up in the morning, dude. I've tried doing the whole
till
like
6 in the morning.
No, I mean I've tried to do the whole like get up at like 8 or 9 and then like have a productive day thing. I just can't. If I wake up at 8 that day, I will go to sleep at like 2 a.m. and I will be in a coma until at least 11.
Oh man.
Like there's nothing I can do. It's every time I've tried to do it, it fucks my sleep schedule up so bad because it'll be like, okay, I'll wake up at 8, I'll go to sleep at like 2, but then I wake up at like 11, so then I don't go to sleep until like 4, and then I wake up at like fucking past noon because I fucking went to sleep at 4, and then I'm up until the sun comes up, and all of a sudden I'm not tired when the sun comes up because the fucking sun is coming up, and that's what it does to people, wakes them up. So then I've now been awake for 24 hours, and I'm fucking dog shit exhausted just because my sleep schedule is so fucked, and then I go to sleep at a decent time. I wake up, rinse and repeat, 8 o'clock, and it's just a vicious cycle. So I've tried. I can't do it.
And I stayed up till 2 o'clock like a weekend or two ago, hanging out with friends, man. The whole day.
You don't have friends, stop lying.
I was wrecked. I'm like, I don't know how people stay up this late. No,
dude, I love it. I love it. Literally, my like nightly routine at this point is I'll like hang out with my homies because fucking one of the guys in that Discord server that you just got put in, I met him through the Marines. That's how I met all of them, was through him. And he just got out. So he's on like terminal right now and he has nothing to do. He's just living life in California. So he stays up. I mean, fuck, dude. They were awake at 10 this morning, 8 this morning, something like that. I don't know. But him and like another dude that I'm in the server with, they stay up super, super late. Like they're like nocturnal now, basically. So like like my night routine is like I'll stay up, hang out with them until like the AM, and then for like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that, I'll try and knock out some like coding stuff. I like try to teach myself how to code a little bit more because I'm using a website called Interneting is Hard. So they have like the sections. Were you the one that showed me that? Yeah. So I'm using that, right? And I do like a chapter a day almost. Not intentionally a chapter a day, but that's just how the way it normally works out. By the time I get through one, I'm at that point where I'm like getting fucking tired. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wind down now. And then after that, I'll like go sleep on the couch like the fucking baby dad that I am. The fucking
I just couldn't do that. When my girls like all day would be like trying to wake me up.
well, since she's so young, she's not malicious yet. She's
That's fair. My oldest is almost 3, so I get the whole like literally since she watches Trolls, the daddy, wake up. Like, so I couldn't do that, man.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Good for you.
Yes and no. I'm terrified that the kid getting so used to sleeping in the bed with their mom is gonna like become like too much of a permanent thing. Like I'm trying so hard to find a way to like wean this kid into sleeping in a crib.
So you guys doing co-sleeping?
She is.
So and this is okay. Maybe I don't know if that's for the podcast. Anyways, my oldest co-sleeps. There's some advantages and disadvantages to it. But
I don't like it just because I would like to sleep in my own bed. That's the only downside.
Sure.
I hate fucking. I mean, I have a great couch. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm fucking, I'm vibing out. Like it's all like I got like one of the motorized like fucking footrests and shit, and I'm fucking, I'm chilling out when I sleep. Like don't get me wrong, but it's like I got fucking whenever this fucking COVID stimulus checks hit. Since me and my wife both got one, right? Fucking, we're like, okay, what do we? And I was still in the Marine Corps at that time. No, not the couch. We got that after I got out. But since at that time I was still in, I wasn't hurting for money because most people fucking have this misconception that military people don't get paid a lot, and they kind of don't, but they get a lot of allowances. So like my rent was covered, my food's covered, shit like that. So it's single couple living in California with like almost no bills, right? So like we were already like in the positive for like savings and shit. So we get this extra money, like what are we gonna spend it on? And we fucking at this point, I don't think I had ever slept on anything other than a box spring and a mattress on the floor. Just because I never needed it. I never needed anything else.
It's also kind of depressing.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, do you need a fucking like rack to put your bed on? Like, what's the
no. Okay, fair. But yeah, so also like one thing that I will spend money on is a bed.
Well, so that's what we did.
In all fairness. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we were like, what are we gonna spend money on? It's like, let's go fucking tits up with the fucking bed. So we got one of the mattress we had. My wife was so relieved to get a new one because the mattress we had was one that I had for like over a decade. Jesus. And I wasn't even the first person to have that one. But it was comfortable because it had a nice thick like foam top to it. Okay. So it was super comfortable. Like, and I had no reason to want something else. Yeah. Okay. But we got one of those fucking memory foam ones. And then we got one of those adjustable bed frames, dude. Where like sits you up and puts your feet up and shit.
Badass.
Perfect, dude. Okay, I know people have been saying this shit forever, but if you're listening to this and you're looking for a reason to get a memory foam fucking mattress, do it. Everyone always says that it's such a big upgrade, and it's not exaggeration. It was like sleeping on a fucking cloud. It's fucking perfect. And then they make ones where they're like adjustable firmness. Oh, dude. Fuck. I love that shit.
And you don't even sleep in it.
And yeah, that's why I'm so upset. It's because I sleep like a fucking baby in that bed.
Wait, so
like sometimes she'll like wake up early in the morning, like fucking 8 or 9 or something, and she'll wake me up just so she can like be in the rest of the house and like like taking care of the baby and stuff. And I'll just go sleep in the bed for like a few hours, and I get better sleep in those few hours I sleep on the bed than I do sleep on the fucking couch for like the fucking however many hours I do.
Obviously, it's a bed, my man.
I love it, dude. I miss that bed so much. She went to go visit family in Indiana
Currently?
a couple months ago, I think. And she took the baby with her because everyone wanted to meet the baby. And it was just me out here for like a week alone.
Why didn't you
And I got
go?
to sleep in the bed every night, dude.
You
It was
loved it?
fucking awesome. I got like a little I got like kind of sad whenever she came back because I was like, fuck, I have to sleep on the couch again. This fucking sucks.
So do you ever plan on going back to like a normal sleep schedule?
I mean, I'm eventually whenever I have to get a job.
Fair.
So like if the job requires me to, then I will. But I mean, if I don't have to, like if I end up getting a job where I can like set my own hours, then that's perfect. I'll fucking do everything at night.
There you go.
There was a time whenever I still had my day job that I almost considered going to night hours, like the night shift, just because it flows so much better with like my like body clock.
What does?
But then I had the kid, so like I can't do that.
All right. Well, quick shift.
Sure.
Something I just thought of actually.
What you got for me, bud?
No, just what I mean, are there any projects that you're currently looking at? Is there anything that you're currently bullish on?
No, dude, I'm completely toned out. Something I've been doing the past couple days is I saw a tweet from Ricky.
Ricky on the board.
Yeah, he's
member?
on the board. He's on the monkey board.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it's he. Okay, cool. And one of the people that does like a ton of the like alpha or like whitelist stuff for the monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been in Mint Vote's channel recently.
Mm-hmm.
Barren Wasteland, bro.
Is it?
Yeah, like I remember not too long ago, I was like fist fighting motherfuckers to try to like. There'd be people that would have this channel open all the time, and they'd fucking like as soon as something got posted, they're in there and shit. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, we have 50 spots," and then I checked like 5 minutes after it got posted, and they're all gone. I'm like, "What the fuck?" But I mean, these aren't like really getting any reactions anymore. But so I'll look through the channel every once in a while to see if there's like anything that catches my eye or that people are like really noticing and shit. There's nothing, dude. There's nothing. I mean, there's like ones you can tell are clearly botted. Like I'm looking at one right now, Darley Go. It's got 31,000 people in their server, and 1,300 of them are online. 31,000 motherfuckers interested in Darley Go. Like that's not a fucking thing. Like that's so clearly botted. So it's like shit like that. It's like I can tell that you're fucking botting. Yeah. No one has any interest in a botted fucking thing. And like the ones that aren't like obviously botted have like no fucking people. Like I'm looking at one, Degen Vegetables, 1,200 total people in the fucking server. I don't care about fucking Degen Vegetables. So there's nothing, dude. There's nothing going on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty mentally checked out. I'm just vibing at this point. I was trying to make it through the bear, you know.
I agree, and that's kind of what where I was going. So I recently, I don't know if you've heard of these gold bar games.
Yeah, I saw you bought those.
Yeah, so I talked to a couple people that I knew were involved in it and kind of some stuff that they were coming out with. Now, this area is very competitive. I think it's very hard to really gain a market share when there's DJ and coin flip, right? And so, for better or for worse, but this is something like a play. Right now, there's a 15 soul floor for the minimum for the gold bar that they have on there. Now they are coming out with the version 2 website. I'm not affiliated with the team. I know this sounds like a shill, but it's not.
Well, you're just talking about what you're invested in, bud.
And the reason I kind of bring this up is they have decent volume from what I've seen. And it's not a ton. It's not like right now. I mean, when I bought in like a week ago, it was half the full price. I think I bought in around 5 to 7, or wait, no, 7 to 9-ish rather. But it's one thing that I think that like kind of can help you survive or try to get by in the bear market. So right now, I think their gold bar payouts are like 0.05 to 0.1 soul. Is that a lot? No, a week. So
how much is
a lot? 0.05 to 0.1 per bar at the moment. Yeah. So is it good? No. Is it DGen coin flip good? Absolutely not. But I do think that if you're looking at some of those projects, I mean, not clearly, I bought it. I bought 6. I think I have 6 right now. So, I mean, if it's 0.1, I'm getting 0.6 a week, right? That's money that I haven't, just in a wallet that I'll let build up. Like, I'm not going to touch for the next little bit. They're coming out with a version 2 of their website. I haven't looked into it a ton. I know they're doing like an offline version. I don't know exactly what that means or how that works, but I'm intrigued to kind of see what
Are they talking about like going off the blockchain?
I have no idea. I don't think so, but maybe.
I don't know
But
how
they
they
just
do something completely offline if that's not what they meant.
And they just implemented like blackjack, which I think is kind of cool. Or they're working on releasing it here in the next little bit. So that's one project that I've kind of looked at. Another one that I'm not sure if you're familiar with is that L'Affinity Flare.
I had a few back in the day.
So I bought a couple of those a week ago, and it consistently goes up. And if you kind of look into what they're doing, some of these projects, I think that in the bear market, I'm just trying to find ones that can help me long term, right? So in ways that whether they can generate revenue, or I feel like they provide value to the Solana ecosystem. So that's just where I'm at. But I just wanted to see kind of where you were, if you were bullish on anything, because that's the gold bar games I'm kind of excited about. And then the L'Affinity Flares, I think that their team has quite the model that they're running with. But
so I'm not familiar with what L'Affinity is doing, but I know Gold Bar is just like a game provider kind of thing, right?
Yep, and that's been a struggling market if you're not DJing coin flip. So
yeah, we might have to have a whole fucking episode going over DCF. So for anyone that is unfamiliar with my background, I was community manager for Only Dice for a while, for a handful of months. And let's just say that as someone who was a direct competitor, I have a watchful eye. And I'm not a complete fucking idiot. There were days where they were saying they were putting up more volume than like there were people like making plays. Like there would be days when they're saying they're like at 10,000 sold volume on their site in a single day. No, you didn't. You didn't even get close. Like especially like when the Solana TPS was really bad. The only person that could the only way they could ever have that kind of excuse to say that they have that kind of volume when the blockchain's like not functioning is if they had a model like the it's hippos. What's their fucking thing? High rolling hippos. That's what it is. Those guys, they are mostly off blockchain. So how they're different is you deposit your SOL into like an escrow wallet on their site, and then all the site things happen like in the background off blockchain. So like when Solana shit, the only time you're gonna have an issue is if you're depositing or withdrawing. Everything else is buttery smooth. That's the only way DCF could ever like convince me that they pulled those numbers, but they don't function that like that. So I mean, we could, like I said, we could have a whole fucking episode about DCF, bro. There's some scum motherfuckers over there. And then they stick their little fucking cronies on other projects and like fucking they report servers. Haha, you didn't think I'd fucking call you up for that one, cunts. But they fucking report other fucking competitor servers for stupid shit. They fucking stick their little fucking people into the Discord to fucking shit talk and try to fucking like make it seem like there's nothing good going on in the servers and stuff. And it's some like straight bully shit, bro.
Interesting.
Yeah, fuck DCF. But as far as gold bars, the reason I sold a lot of my dice that I had, because I was accumulating for a while, I sold a bunch of them. And then the reason I don't get involved with profit share like that, at least not right now, is when Solana was 250, 0.1 SOL wasn't a bad deal. When Solana's at less than $40, what's 0.1 Solana? Like $4?
Okay.
You're making $4 a week? Homie, you know how much shit you could do to make $4 a week? You go trim a dog's nails for like a hobo or something, and he's got $4 to give you in a week. So it's like, I mean, maybe when Solana picks back up, it'll be like, okay, I've accumulated the Solana. right? But you're also banking on the fact that people are going to continue to use that service. So like another reason I sold on my dice, I guess this guy kind of just played into it, was the volume was just down really bad. Like they were doing good. We were trending up for a long time, up until the blockchain took a shit there for a few months.
Yeah.
And it just killed the volume. And like they just, no matter what we did, we just couldn't seem to get it back. And another reason why I'm like, okay, DCF is full of shit, right? Because they just never stopping. But I mean, I think their latest thing that they're doing is like I think Only Dice is doing like a 0.01 or something like that for their distributions per week. It's 0.01. What the fuck is point? Let me just, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I'm gonna find out exactly what 0.01 Solana is today. Just to give you an idea how absurd this is. That's 38 cents.
Okay.
38 fucking cents a week that they're dishing out to people. Get the fuck out of here. Who the fuck cares? Like, what the fuck?
So, like my thing is I put it on a wallet that like it's one of my like I said, like my long-term plays. So I've gotten the habit of learning that like you can't, like we already talked about earlier, is like timing things is so hard. So it may seem like I put a lot in to, like, I guess, depending on where you're at, but for me, I put in it was a sizable amount of SOL, but it's more of a long-term hold now. It's SOL that I can tuck away, I can put away and kind of bet on the game and see kind of where it goes. I mean, the floor price alone, there is some attraction to it there. Now they do have a higher royalty percentage. Funny that we're bringing that conversation up, which a majority of that goes to their payouts. So if you do sell your NFT, I know a large percentage of that goes into the payouts. So that's another.
Holy shit.
It's like 25, I think.
It's 25%.
Yeah. So, and so that's whether, kind of whether or not you like it or not, that goes back towards the payout if you're holding. So if you sell, yes, that's a large chunk of change. But on the flip side, if you're holding, you get rewarded for doing so, right? So that's kind of, I guess I should have brought that up earlier when we talked about percentages. So,
buddy, I'm over here sitting thinking about, okay, the biggest thing with NFTs like that is like, when do they pay for themselves to where you turn into actual profit, right?
Sure.
Are you ever going to be in profit now?
Well, I mean, so I bought for like 9, the floor is like 13 to 15.
How many did you buy for 9 though?
I think the highest that I spent was 11 and I have 6. So
at 25, it would be like what, like 3 almost?
3 SOL away.
3 SOL if you sold it like.
So if I sold it, like if I tried to sell it at like 15 to 20 SOL, I would be just fine. But that's also my thing, is like, I'm not trying to sell.
True. Yeah.
But like right now, it's just a long-term hold. So like, we'll see. I don't know if that'll ever get changed or if that'll be revisited. But for now, it's like, hey, I'll kind of just let that wallet build up, and in a year's time, hopefully it's still going. I mean, because if there's a project, right, that can do anything close to what DCF is doing.
A conversation that we had to have, and I hate to keep bringing up Only Dice, but a conversation I feel like I needed to have. I mean, you were at a couple of those meetings, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was always a comparison of, what are we doing that DCF, like what is DCF doing that we're not? What do they have that we don't? What can we do better to beat them? And when you're dealing with a project that's so blatantly like phony, like they're washing 100%. They're washing. So like when you deal with a project that's got such inflated numbers like that, what can you do? Like, I mean, there's no fucking way that a market as extreme as like the fucking like online gambling and shit. I mean, think about how many competitors you got. You got High Roller Hippos, Soul Casino, DCF, Only Dice, fucking Gold Bar games. Like how many others that I'm not even fucking like directly aware of off the rip. And DCF is the only one ripping like that.
Yeah.
No, dude, no one gives a fuck about flipping a coin like that.
We'll
Like
have to
no
do,
one.
We'll have to do an episode about that.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
even bring some people
I
on.
have some evidence of them doing a few things that I had tucked away for a rainy day that I guess I could probably fucking talk about one day. But yeah, no, like fucking, like, you can't compete with DCF. You can't compete with DCF because DCF can't compete with DCF. So it's like that's not like a fair comparison to like any other projects. So like if Gold Bar is putting up good numbers, then it's probably gonna stay that way. I think the main competitor, and I don't know how many people have been on Soul Casino's website. It's good. That's a damn good website. It's pretty much like exactly like other online gambling sites. It's got all the little fucking games and shit, all the little themes and shit you want.
Mhm.
But it's got everything. It's got everything. And then you got fucking shit like DCF only dice, where it's just fucking flipping shit or dice rolling or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you can't compete with that, baby. Like I want to go fucking play that rocket game, whatever the fuck that's called, Crash. Yeah, go play some fucking Crash, dude. Every dude, if you're a gambling website and you're listening to this and you don't have fucking Crash, get fucking Crash, dude. Crash is dope.
Because like this is one thing that maybe the other projects aren't even doing. Like you could do like little mini games and just have people betting on mini games, right?
Yeah,
that'd be fun
for sure. Like fucking, where's the Solana sports betting at?
That is something that I think will take whoever gets that done first. I think
Soul Casino might have it.
Sweet.
I think someone has it, but I don't know how well it works.
Is it that Sweets that talked about it? I can't remember.
Well, I know Sweets was like a hangout spot. That's what it was. It was like a fucking, I don't know if they ended up adding to that or not.
I'm not sure. But it's an idea. Like straight up.
It's been a pretty chilled out episode, I think.
Yes. I do like the idea of having like a drinking or smoking episode. Like
let's get drunk next time. I like drinking a lot more than I like smoking. Let's get drunk.
Let's do it. Maybe I'll do both. Make it really entertaining.
Oh no. This used to be you sitting there fucking eating a sandwich, rambling about weird shit.
You're like, oh, fuck the government.
Dude, honestly, bro, if I get on, listen, it's pretty obvious. I'm a pretty fucking like a ranty person. Like I used to have a fucking. This is actually really gay, but back in the day, I made a Facebook page for my rants. Nice. Like before I did like crypto and stuff. I just like anything big that happened in the world, I'd rant about it. I just called it like my first name rants, and hey, I would just post my rants on there. So like if I get drunk and you get me on a fucking tangent, if you mention it, it's game over, dude. I'm a fucking
things not to talk about.
It'll be a fucking hour-long fucking podcast, and 56 minutes of it will be me fucking ranting about how much I hate the goddamn government.
Oh man! All right, man. Well, appreciate your time as always, my guy.
For sure.
All right, we'll talk next time, brother.
All right, see you, buddy.